assassinations of John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King.
It should not be called the Security Council, it should be called the Terror Council.
And Iran's Mahmoud Ahmadinejad sparked a walkout at the UN by questioning the Holocaust and implying that 9/11 was an inside job.
It is proposed that the United Nations set up an independent fact-finding group for the event of September 11.
And Venezuela's Hugo Chavez once used the stage to take aim at the leader of the free world, calling President George W. Bush the devil.
Today, the devil came here.
Welcome to Noble Black News, where we dive deep to bring you the stories of Africa and the global black community. Today, we reveal the secrets behind how Muammar Gaddafi, the former Libyan leader, was betrayed by African leaders. Join us as we uncover the intricate dynamics of political alliances and power struggles that shaped this pivotal moment in African history. Muammar Gaddafi was a prominent figure in Africa, known for his vision of a United States of Africa. Despite ruling Libya for over 40 years, his grand ambitions for both his country and the continent remain steadfast. The story of his downfall is intertwined with themes of love, money, and betrayal. Yet his legacy continues to be one of the most remarkable in the 21st century. The rise and fall of a friendship. During his reign, Gaddafi showed immense affection for a particular country, its people, and especially its president. Ironically, it was this same president who ultimately betrayed him. So, which country and...
Of course, Muammar Gaddafi had his own problems. I had the task of fighting him twice, 1972 and 1979, as he intervened in Uganda on the side of Idi Amin because Idi Amin was a Muslim. However, foreign armies attacking an African country against the express objection of the African Union is not a solution.
Leader are we talking about? The country is Uganda, and the leader who betrayed Gaddafi is President Yoweri Museveni. Gaddafi's relationship with Uganda began long before Museveni came to power. It started in the 1970s during Idi Amin's regime. Gaddafi provided significant moral, economic, and military support to Amin's government. Whenever Amin's regime faced attacks, it was Gaddafi who would come to his rescue, sending troops and military aid. However, this long-standing friendship ended in betrayal. Early support and investments. In 1979, after Idi Amin was overthrown, he fled to Libya and later moved to Saudi Arabia. Uganda then organized elections to choose its next leader, but Museveni, unhappy with the results, claimed the elections were rigged. This accusation led to a civil war in Uganda. During this war, Museveni's forces ran short of weapons and ammunition. Desperate for help, he turned to the US and the UK, but was turned down due to his ties with Gaddafi. Left with no other choice, he approached Gaddafi, who, despite their strained relations, provided the necessary military supplies, helping Museveni emerge victorious. Gaddafi's support for Uganda didn't stop with military aid. He made significant investments in the country's infrastructure, telecommunications, finance, and real estate sectors. Through the Libyan African portfolio, Gaddafi acquired 51% of shares in Uganda's Telecommunications Corporation and 60% of shares in the textile company TriStar Limited. He also funded the construction of the Toro Palace and contributed to the Ugandan Muslim community by financing the construction of a large mosque in Kampala, which could hold up to 3,000 people. Building strong ties, Gaddafi's relationship with Uganda deepened over the years. He frequently visited the country, which he seemed to consider his second home. Gaddafi invested heavily in Uganda, building numerous infrastructures and contributing to various sectors of the economy. He convinced Museveni not to sell Uganda's unrefined oil to Europe and the West, promising instead to help build a refinery and pipelines to neighboring countries. Gaddafi's influence extended to military training and support, with Libyan forces training Museveni's military, and even naming Museveni's secret intelligence agency after its Libyan counterpart. Gaddafi also developed a deep interest in the Toro Kingdom, located within Uganda. He financed numerous projects there, including the construction of the Toro Palace and significant contributions to the local Muslim community. His financial and moral support left a lasting legacy in Uganda, but his relationship with Museveni would eventually sour. The betrayal, despite Gaddafi's extensive support and investments, Museveni ultimately turned against him. In 2016, Museveni wrote a letter criticizing the US and the African Union for their intervention in Libya and the broader Middle East. He stated that the US and the European Union had no right to dislodge Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein of Iraq. Museveni's betrayal was driven by a mix of personal ambition and Western interest. Fearing Gaddafi's vision of a United States of Africa, Museveni viewed this as a threat to his power. Additionally, his increasing ties with Western powers who opposed Gaddafi's Pan-African ambitions played a crucial role in his decision. Museveni's disapproval of Gaddafi's vision was also rooted in his desire to maintain control over Uganda. Supporting a United States of Africa would have meant sharing power with other African leaders, which Museveni was not willing to do. His collaboration with Western powers further solidified his position against Gaddafi, as he feared losing their support. The aftermath, Museveni's actions had far-reaching consequences. When Gaddafi paid a surprise visit to Uganda in 2008, Museveni's government perceived it as a threat. This visit, along with Gaddafi's efforts to work with traditional African leaders to promote his vision, intensified tensions between the two leaders. Gaddafi's ambition for African unity, which included the creation of a single currency and military, was seen as a threat by many African leaders and Western powers. Museveni, prioritizing his relationship with the West, opposed Gaddafi's ideas. This opposition culminated in Museveni's betrayal, leading to Gaddafi's downfall. Gaddafi's legacy in Uganda is still evident despite the betrayal. The mosque he funded in Kampala was renamed after his death to appease the current Libyan government. Museveni's attempt to step into Gaddafi's shoes as a champion of African unity lacks the same charisma and financial power that Gaddafi possessed. Despite the betrayal, Gaddafi's contributions to Uganda's infrastructure and economy remain significant. His investments in telecommunications, real estate, and the financial sector have left a lasting impact. The support he provided during Uganda's civil wars and his efforts to strengthen the country's military capabilities are still remembered by many. Gaddafi's broader vision. Gaddafi's vision for a United States of Africa was ambitious and far-reaching. He believed that Africa could achieve greater economic and political stability through unity. His efforts to promote this vision included funding various projects across the continent and advocating for African unity at international forums. Gaddafi's idea of a united Africa with a single currency and military was seen as a threat by Western powers and some African leaders who feared losing their influence. Western interest and African discontent. Western powers were wary of Gaddafi's influence and his vision for a united Africa. They saw his efforts as a threat to their interest in the continent. Gaddafi's support for various liberation movements and his vocal opposition to Western intervention in African affairs made him a target. The West's support for Museveni and other African leaders who opposed Gaddafi was part of a broader strategy to maintain their influence in Africa. The role of traditional leaders. Gaddafi's strategy to work with traditional African leaders to promote his vision of unity was a significant aspect of his approach. He believed that traditional leaders had the influence and authority to support his vision. Gaddafi's engagement with these leaders, however, was seen as a challenge to the authority of elected African leaders like Museveni. This created further tension and opposition to his ideas. The downfall of a visionary. Gaddafi's downfall was not just a result of betrayal by African leaders, but also a culmination of various factors, including Western intervention and internal dissent. His efforts to promote African unity and his support for various liberation movements made him a target. The NATO-led intervention in Libya, which ultimately led to his overthrow and death, was supported by some African leaders who saw his removal as a way to maintain their own power and influence. Reflection and lessons. Gaddafi's story is a complex tale of ambition, vision, betrayal, and the struggle for power. His efforts to promote African unity and his support for various causes left U.S. President Barack Obama stated that not preparing for the aftermath of ousting Libyan leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was the biggest mistake of his presidency. During an interview on Fox News, Obama reflected on the highs and lows of his time in office. He maintained that intervening in Libya was the right decision, as the U.S. and other countries carried out strikes aimed at protecting civilians during the 2011 uprising. However, after Gaddafi was killed, Libya descended into chaos with militias seizing control, rival parliaments and governments forming, and militants from the Islamic State gaining a foothold. The country also became a major departure point for migrants attempting to reach Europe. A UN-backed national unity government arrived in the capital, Tripoli, earlier this month, but is still waiting to assume full control. The tragic fate of Muammar Gaddafi and his family. Muammar Gaddafi, the former leader of Libya, left an indelible mark on the continent of Africa through his ambitious visions and controversial leadership. Beyond his political legacy, Gaddafi's family also played significant roles in his regime, experiencing both the privileges of power and the dire consequences of its collapse. This is the story of Gaddafi's family, their involvement in his rule, and the tragic fate many of them met. Muammar Gaddafi, the man and his vision. Gaddafi seized power in Libya in 1969 through a military coup, establishing himself as a revolutionary leader with a vision for Pan-African unity. Over his 42-year rule, he implemented various social and economic reforms but also faced accusations of human rights abuses and autocratic governance. His vision for a United States of Africa aimed to bring about continental unity and prosperity, but it also attracted significant opposition both within and outside Africa. The Gaddafi family. Muammar Gaddafi was married twice and had several children, many of whom held influential positions within his regime. His family was deeply intertwined with his leadership, benefiting from his rule while also facing the repercussions of its downfall. Safiya Farkash, Gaddafi's second wife, Safiya, was by his side throughout his reign. She was known for her involvement in charitable activities and her influence within the regime. Safiya fled to Algeria with other family members after Gaddafi's fall. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, often considered the heir apparent. Saif al-Islam was highly educated and portrayed as a reformist within the regime. He played a prominent role in Libyan politics and international relations. After the fall of Tripoli, Saif was captured by rebel forces in 2011 and later released in 2017. He remains a controversial figure and has attempted to re-enter Libyan politics. Muammar Gaddafi, Gaddafi's fourth son, Muammar, served as Libya's national security advisor and was a prominent military commander. Muammar was captured and killed alongside his father in Sirte in October 2011. Khamis Gaddafi, a military commander, Khamis led the elite Khamis Brigade, known for its loyalty to Gaddafi and its brutal tactics during the Libyan civil war. Khamis was reportedly killed during the conflict in August 2011. Hannibal Gaddafi, known for his extravagant lifestyle and frequent run-ins with the law. Hannibal held a less prominent role in the regime. He was granted asylum in Oman after the fall of the regime. Saadi Gaddafi, a former professional footballer. Saadi held military and political positions within the regime. He fled to Niger following the uprising, but was extradited to Libya in 2014, where he faced charges related to his role in the regime. Aisha Gaddafi, Gaddafi's only daughter, Aisha, was a lawyer and served as a UN Goodwill Ambassador. Known for her public support of her father's regime, she fled to Algeria with her mother and other family members in 2011. The downfall and aftermath. As the Libyan civil war intensified in 2011, Gaddafi's regime faced mounting pressure from rebel forces and international intervention. The NATO-led coalition conducted extensive airstrikes, weakening Gaddafi's hold on power. In August 2011, Tripoli fell to the rebels, marking the collapse of Gaddafi's regime. In October 2011, Muammar Gaddafi was captured and killed by rebel forces in his hometown of Sirte. His death marked the end of an era for Libya, but it also signaled a period of chaos and instability that the country continues to grapple with. Muammar Gaddafi was captured and killed alongside his father in Sirte. The brutal footage of their capture and subsequent deaths was widely circulated, symbolizing the violent end of Gaddafi's rule. The fate of the family. The aftermath of Gaddafi's fall saw his family members scattered across different countries, facing various legal and personal challenges. Safiya Farkash and her children, including Aisha, sought refuge in Algeria and later Oman. Their asylum was granted on humanitarian grounds, allowing them to live in relative peace away from the political turmoil of Libya. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi was captured by rebel forces but later released. He remains a contentious figure in Libya's complex political landscape, attempting to mount a political comeback despite the lingering animosity and legal challenges he faces. Saadi Gaddafi was extradited back to Libya and faced charges related to his role in the regime. His trial and treatment have been focal points for discussions about justice and retribution in post-Gaddafi Libya. Hannibal Gaddafi continues to live in exile, facing an uncertain future away from the power and privilege he once knew. Legacy and reflection. The Gaddafi family's story is one of power, privilege, and a dramatic fall from grace. Their experiences highlight the complex interplay between leadership loyalty and the harsh realities of political betrayal and retribution. Muammar Gaddafi's vision for a united Africa and his extensive influence left a lasting impact, but his downfall and the fate of his family serve as a poignant reminder of the volatile nature of power and the far-reaching consequences of political strife. As we reflect on this story, it is essential to consider the broader implications for Libya and Africa. The Gaddafi family's rise and fall underscore the challenges of governance, the pursuit of unity, and the enduring quest for stability and prosperity in the region, lasting impact on the continent. However, his downfall also serves as a reminder of the challenges and complexities of political alliances. and the influence of external powers in African affairs. As we reflect on this story, it is essential to consider the lessons it offers about leadership, unity, and the importance of collaboration. Gaddafi's vision for a united Africa remains a topic of discussion and debate, highlighting the ongoing struggle for unity and stability on the continent. Thank you for joining us on Noble Black News as we explore the intricate story of Muammar Gaddafi's relationship with African leaders and his vision for the continent. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us continue to bring you important stories from around the world. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our interesting content. See you in our next video. Thank you for joining us on Noble Black News as we explore the intricate story of Muammar Gaddafi's family and their fate. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us continue to bring you important stories from around the world. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our interesting content.
Welcome to Noble Black News, where empowerment meets truth. Our mission is to uplift and empower the Black community. We stand for truth, integrity, and representation. Our stories are your stories, told with pride and passion. Join us as we celebrate our heritage and our future. Together, we are stronger, louder, and more united. Noble Black News is your voice, your platform, your news. We bring you the stories that matter, with integrity and heart. Our commitment is to the truth, no matter the cost. We highlight the achievements and struggles of our community. Every story we tell is a step towards empowerment. We are more than news. We are a movement. Join us in making a difference, one story at a time. Together, we can change the narrative. Noble Black News, empowering our community, one story at a time.